Hi everyone, thanks for coming in this after lunch slot. We tried to keep it very lively and entertaining, hopefully you will see. So this event is linked to our Spark program for Vizeum Global, which is our startup program. So linking our clients with relevant startups. Today we wanted to have a fun format, so it's in a kind of Dragon's Den entertainment format, if you're familiar with that, and you will see what we mean in a bit. So we have very interesting talent with us and clients that Lucy will introduce in a minute. Spark is a program that has been running for 5 years now, very successfully for Vizeum Global. And this year we wanted to give it a society angle, and the brief will be very much tailored to that. And Lucy will tell us a little more in a second. So I'm going to let Lucy introduce the format and also our jury. And please enjoy yourself and ask lots of questions.
Hi everyone, I'm Lucy Hockings from the BBC. Thrilled to be here, as I'm sure you all are, in this gorgeous spot. This is my third time at Cannes, and every year there seems to be a slightly different theme. And one of the big ones for us this year has been about tackling fake news. But the other big thing has been about how the industry can work towards social good. And that's one of the themes today, about empowering society through digital. That's the brief for our 3 amazing startups. Because if we can get startups involved and create momentum around other companies that can put pressure on the big guys, that's when we're going to start to see change. And I think that we're feeling from consumers very much too that they want brands and companies and advertisers to be working towards something other than the bottom line. This notion of working towards something bigger, empowering people through technology, through the message, is very much, a theme of this year's Cannes. So it makes empowering society through digital, big theme for today, completely relevant. And we've got 3 amazing startups and an incredible panel of judges. David Shing, I'm sure you all know from AOL, our digital prophet, is going to introduce his team. And David, tell us firstly though, what's so great about an event with Dragon's Den style setup that we're doing today?
Bloody good question. Hi guys, how we doing? Who's oh God, hello humans. Yay! Much better. Tea. Yay! Who's drinking? Me! Alright, so look, a couple of things that I think is awesome. And to be part of this is an absolute honour, because we're not just going to be talking about stuff, we get to see how the change happens. So instead of being here and presented out and vomited to, we actually get to see how this could actually implement real change, as opposed to just talking about it. But while I have the microphone, can I say a couple of things? The most exciting thing that I've seen here is not necessarily digital platforms. They are physical, great, simple ideas that could have been executed 1,000 years ago. Fearless Girl. How amazing is that? We look at things like bloody Burger King's burning store. I mean, it's just a great idea celebrating something that's lost today because of the climate. Fun. Fun got punched out a long time ago, so we need that shit to come back. And guess what? It doesn't all have to be about PSA. You can make money while doing good. Isn't that a fabulous thing to think about? So I'm very excited that we're going to see that today. We have some stunning talent with us, not just good looks, but good brains. And most importantly, I'm going to let them introduce themselves, and we'll get on with it in a couple of minutes. Are we cool?
Thank you, David. I am Gabrielle Maggie, and I am here from the Tory Burch Foundation. Back in New York, we empower women entrepreneurs in the United States through capital, confidence, and resources. So please go to torybirchfoundation.org, check out all of our tools to empower women entrepreneurs. We also have men that use our site and download their business plan. When I think about the entrepreneurs that are here today, I think of Tori's story. She started her company 13 years ago from her kitchen. And 13 years ago, before purpose was really a cool thing, she was raising money and she said, I want to start this design business, but I also want to start a foundation. And everyone that she was pitching to said, you have to stop talking about social good. Just focus on your numbers, focus on your style and your business concept. And she really ignored that advice, stayed true to her purpose. And here we are today, empowering women through Embrace Ambition and the foundation. So I think the lesson for everyone here is stay true to your purpose, your passion, and your story, and don't let other people edit your story.
Thank you. I'm Maggie Dehler, and I handle international media for 20th Century Fox. So with that, I feel like we always look for opportunities where there's stories and themes in our films that have a bigger impact on the world and society. And we always now, being in the media space and digital, are looking for new partners and new tech solutions that kind of help us bridge that gap and really can make a bigger change in society and elevate. So I think it's really excited to be a part of this right now and to see these new entrepreneurs and ideas that they can bring forth that actually have an impact on the world and can change society for the better.
Hello everyone, my name is Thierry. I look after the Vizeum network. I'm president for Vizeum Global, which means look after our clients and our agencies around the world. We do believe that society needs to become a key stakeholder in our business. So it's very, very important for us to have those events and understand how to actually better partner with startups and bring the digital transformation as a benefit to society. Outside work, I'm also the president of the Foundation for School, and I'm a member of the Surfrider Foundation Europe as the advisory board. And I've always believed that we need to share our lives and our passions and our commitment also to bring back things to society. And I'm really happy that the group is taking that path, and the industry is looking into how we can make digital technology data transformational for society as well. So it's an excitement to see how startups contribute to that. Looking forward.
Let's get this show on the road. So it's proper Dragon's Den style. The startups will come out. They've got 5 minutes to do their pitch. The judges are going to ask them some questions, and we're going to motor through the startups with again fantastic. We'll sum up at the end with verdict and discussion, and maybe even a few questions from you guys as well. We've already had some coming in actually, and I've got them on my phone. So we've got a great 45 minutes coming up. I'd like to ask our first startup, which is Karen and Stacey from Club, an AI mobile advertising platform targeting people based on what they are sharing and how they're feeling on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Good luck. Your 5 minutes starts now.
Hi everyone, my name is Karen Walia, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Club. So we're an artificially intelligent mobile advertising platform that targets consumers based on what they're sharing and how they're feeling on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And we're able to serve them relevant advertising in their mobile apps and their mobile browser, all in real time, based on what they're saying. So we've developed and patented a text analysis engine that can detect 8 different feelings towards topics people care about, and a proprietary image recognition engine to detect products, brands, logos, and scenarios and images that are being posted on social media. And these 2 powerful capabilities give very clear signals into people's lifestyles, their passions, their interests, and allow brands to engage with these consumers and reach them and serve one-to-one messages that are empathetic, emotional, and relevant. And having run over 700 campaigns for already over 200 tier 1 brands like Coca-Cola, McDonald's, Lexus, we found that when you connect with people emotionally and empathetically, and it leads to much higher actions, engagements, and builds more sustainable relationships. Okay, so now that I've talked about what it is that we do, let's park all that on the side, and let's talk about how we're already leveraging machine learning and deep learning to evolve how we think about connecting with humans and people. And so one of the things I want to talk about was civic engagement. So governments and organizations are trying to get people to act, but these people come from different places. They have different concerns, and these concerns change every time over time, right? So, and we're sharing all of this on Twitter, in our social media posts, and in our pictures. So what we need to do is we need to engage with them in compelling ways, and we need to empower them in order for them to get them to participate, right? And our technology can help do that. We can also use our algorithms to make education more personalized and based on an individual's needs, their interests, and what motivates or challenges them. So our text analysis engine and our image recognition engine can very accurately understand what challenges and motivates them with a very high level of accuracy. So let me give you an example. So yesterday, I was having lunch with a friend of mine, and he was talking about how his son was struggling with math. And so he took extra courses, and he hired a tutor, but he was still struggling. But then he hired another tutor, but this tutor understood what the blockage was, and then changed the schedule and the plan accordingly, and the kid started getting 90s. And we have the technology to be that tutor, and so that you can go to it and ask it whatever it is that you want. So just for some background, as you can clearly tell, I'm obsessed with artificial intelligence, the field of artificial intelligence. I tried building a personal assistant when I was 19 back in 2009 before Siri had come out. I failed miserably, but I didn't give up. I think a lot of people give up too early. So what I did was I continued working on it on text, and me and my younger brother Sobi met this kid named Anton at a hackathon in Toronto. That's where we're from. And both of them dropped out of high school and they started working with me out of a lab at a university. And then we hacked into all the computers, the 24 computers at the university I used to go to train our algorithm on large amounts of data sets. And because we couldn't afford a server at that time. And then here we are. We're just working hard and continuing to work towards our dreams.
Thanks so
Thank
much.
you, everyone.
Yeah, bloody hell, where do I start? Right, firstly, congratulations, mate. I think CLOOP, what does it mean?
So that's a good question. CLOOP stands for Clues Within People.
Okay, so
For people.
I love the idea. Here's what's missing for me, if you don't mind. I don't understand why. So you gave me the what, you gave me the how. The broader challenge to me is why, and why would I care in a place where everything is homogenized? So if there's homogenization happening, you're homogenizing the relevancy of ads, which means everything is now a brighter shade of blue. And if we have in an environment like that, we're never going to have punk, we're going to stay in rock and roll. So tell me where the discovery is, just for a second. And why? Why would I care? I hear what you're doing, how you're doing. I don't hear why somebody's going to give a shit about it.
Yeah, no, that's a very good question. So I think we're going to move away from push marketing to pull marketing. We're going to want things when we need them, when we want them, and not be bombarded with messages that aren't relevant to me and aren't annoying me. So, and that's what we're thriving for. And I feel like, for example, like just how the keyboard changed how marketers engage with consumers on desktop computers. I feel like the camera on a smartphone is revolutionizing how we engage with consumers on smartphones, right? And then in the next 5 to 10 years, we're gonna move to a smart assistant that's going to know us, know our memories, and engage with us.
Yeah, that's an assumption. So let me push back. I'm going to hand the mic over in a second. Let's do a quick test. I'm going to do a real quick survey for you right here, brother. Who's on Instagram here? Quick show of hands, please. Whose Instagram is set to private? Right, so that's about 80% of your audience. So the challenge with pull, as opposed to push, is that they're a closed network. So it's a permission-based environment. The thing that you want in there is the why. The relevancy and the need has to be based on the day-to-day path of how people are going to consume. So that's just a statement. I'm going to pass this mic. And that was 80% of people have private networks that you're trying to interrogate, which I think is a positive opportunity for you.
Thank you, David. Well, first of all, bravo. Nothing can take the place of persistence. So the fact that you failed in your first endeavor and continued is something that is really outstanding and something to celebrate, especially here. My question outside of the advertising, which I do think a challenge for you will be, how can the user not feel like they're being creeped on, right, by brands. I'm curious, I'll have to ask you after what your case studies were with these various brands, but can you tell us more about your model for nonprofits and society that you talked about? I'm not sure I understood how they can access it, what the experience is, and what solution you're trying to solve.
Yeah, absolutely. So we, in the past, and have worked with not-for-profits and basically provide value-add impressions for them to get their message to the right audience and get their message heard to consumers that actually care and are talking about these topics that matter to them. Obviously, they need a public account, and they need to be public posts.
So it's targeting ads to raise money or
correct,
be part of
and
the cause.
messages.
And then just one more question from you guys, and then we'll come back to you further after the next startup, just to keep us rocking along.
Yeah, so congratulations again. I think I get what you're trying to achieve. You actually have an image of Burberry here, so I think if you were pitching that as how can we help you to crack a business problem for some of your clients, I think that solution is really interesting. I'd converge to the previous question, which is how does that actually contribute to society? That's the brick I'm missing. So I think the core of the pitch is that. How does it contribute to society? It's still quite unclear to me.
Yeah, absolutely. So like I mentioned, like the initial dream has been to move and work towards this artificially intelligent assistant that is safe and empowering. That's what we're working towards, and that's what I initially failed when I was 19. And this is helping us get there. That's what we're working towards.
Thank you very much. Well done. Thank you. Caroline from Smartsa is our next startup, a tech company making videos that are shoppable and interactive as well. Welcome. Looking forward to your pitch.
Thank you. So yeah, my name is Caroline, and I started this company 4.5 years ago, and we make videos clickable and interactive. So obviously we all know about the huge growth in video, but video is still very passive. We only really kind of consume it, but there isn't anything interactive, both from a commercial, from a discovery and an educational perspective. And we really wanted to do something where we can connect video to instantly find more information, or from an educational angle, or the obvious use case of connecting to commerce. So we actually work with a lot of brands and retailers making their videos instantly clickable. So basically, you can't see very well in here, but adding this interactive overlay onto video content, creating this link between content and a call to action, which could be, for example, for a charity, could be enabling donations directly from a video, given that video is such a powerful storytelling tool. But I think a lot of times you can kind of lose a lot of opportunity because of the difficulty of doing something. So this is actually a little bit to that. Basically, here's an example of something that we did with Burberry, where we made their runway show instantly clickable, so you can actually discover products and things directly from the video. And in the same way, we can do this for educational content. It could be, as mentioned earlier, for charities as well, for example. And the other really interesting part of this is the analytics that we're able to collect. So we're able to really track what people like and what they engage with in a video and at what point in the video, again, enabling more efficient video production that encourages interaction. So here, so far, here's an example again that how the video works on mobile as well. And we've so far worked with a number of retailers and brands in the UK, in France, and in Germany. And we've seen some really strong results in terms of interaction. Because for us, obviously, the commercial angle is the most obvious one. We have now also launched with brands where it isn't about shopping, it is about enabling discovery for products, and looking to expand into other areas as well. And here's again an example of how this can be shared on social media as well. And Actually, I'll stand over here so you can actually see. So yes, so as a summary, we make videos interactive, allowing information to be consumed directly from them, and through that, giving more opportunities from the society angle, more from an educational perspective, but of course commercial as well. Thank you.
Yeah, so let me just kick off a couple of questions, or possibly more point of view than anything else. That's cool. Firstly, congratulations. I think the interface looks absolutely superb. So that's awesome. But enough with the accolades. Let me tell you what I think is missing, if you don't mind. The piece for me that is still fundamental, one, I think the social piece in making the world a better place is secondary to your cause. So that's a principle that we just need to fundamentally accept. However, I would argue the why question for you is the same thing. The criticism I would say of YouTube currently is it's introducing a whole new bunch of interfaces on us live, and we're clicking away from things, not clicking into them. So there is a training path that needs to happen in there to educate people that this is a good thing, not a bad thing that I'm trying to remove from the thing that I'm watching. And that's an education in the sort of own and operated experience there, because it's probably restricted from YouTube. So that's just a point about the interface, and congrats. I'm going to defer to Universal, because I think in the entertainment space it makes perfect sense for your comment.
Yeah, I mean, congratulations, first of all. I think the product's beautiful, and from a marketing perspective, I certainly see value in it. But in terms of the overall pitch, I guess I'm struggling to see the core of how it can be brought into the education system and really utilized to improve society. So I feel like I can think of some examples, but what do you envision in terms of really bringing it into education and improving the value of it for our youth?
Well, actually, we had some conversations with actually Discovery Education, and I was really surprised about the volume of video that is used for, like, even if you think like biology, geography, even for revision purposes for children to like click on different things and like see what it is and remember and learn, and it's something that then they can go home and they can watch it again, and yes, really surprised about how much, obviously from when I went to school, video wasn't as important, but they even have like apps and things they use in classes, and also even all the way through to university. I think video is something that is becoming much more used, but still then like you watch stuff and then you have to go off and research it somewhere else.
Any experience in the field? Have you actually used it in that space?
We haven't yet. We've set up some basically mock-ups, but I think one of the things that we also see that works really well here is because the overlay is invisible, so it doesn't interrupt the viewing experience, and I think that's why people like it as well, because it's only there if you want it. But yeah, it's something that we have made demos for, and hopefully one day actually make it happen.
With Tory Burch Foundation, do you produce videos? Would you use a technology like this to, and do you, could I contribute to the foundation as a consumer? And would you use this type of technology then to have contribution value through the web? That's a question I think for you.
So it's a great question, and one I've been thinking about, which is what makes this product better than if we had our own developers design a really clever CTA to keep the user within the experience. What I'm getting from you is it cuts down on one click. Is that accurate?
So we keep them within the video. So all of these interactions happen without them actually leaving the content. And we are also able to actually integrate it all the way through to the end goal without them leaving the video or without them leaving your platform.
I think it really depends on the content medium, right? Because there are a lot of cases where we use video, but we want our entrepreneurs to then go use our business plan builder, and that is not a video experience at all. So it seems pretty specific to video content. But again, what technology do you have that you can make sure you're keeping up with the others who I'm sure are trying to copy you in this interface?
Our technology is a video player. So we built everything in-house, so we can completely customize everything, with the data analytics side of it as well. And I think it's something that we're constantly evolving. We're launching a whole new platform in the next month as well. And I think it's our big advantage that we've done everything in-house.
Caroline, thank you very much. Congratulations. We're getting little gifts, getting bribed over here a little bit, do you think? This is Sabine.
I'm trying everything here.
Sabine is from Super, which is an AI platform as well. Welcome, and your 5 minutes starts now.
Absolutely. So basically, these guys are touching what I actually wear, so you guys can't touch that. So that's why I showed that in the video right here. Mercedes came to New York and filmed this for us. So this is basically a bra that has sensors inside, temperature, motion, hydration, you name it. So it's all the fitness stuff, right? But we don't focus on fitness. How do you get a 16-year-old to get you biometric data? To tell him that in 30 years, 40 years, 50 years from now, you're gonna get sick and we need that data so we can actually make him healthy. He's gonna be like, yeah, whatever, right? So what we do is we do dance parties, we focus on extreme sports, we focus on style, we really focus on the Gen Z millennial generation because we want to create the largest sampling size of digital health data to democratize healthcare. Also what we do is, because we're doing extreme sports, the Surfrider Foundation, we also, 10% of our Surfrider, 10% of our surf sweater goes to the Surfrider Foundation New York City chapter. I'm surfing in New York. So Rockaway, here we go. No surf at all, you don't want to go there, but when you live in New York, that's the place to surf. The other thing is also what we are doing is we are in the UNICEF Wearables for Good catalog. We did a maternity kit also based on biometric sensors for women that are pregnant in Ethiopia. So this is basically what we are doing. We really try to actually do super for good, to really go out there, capture a generation that is actually not ready to share digital data or digital health data per se, but really engages with the device all the time. So this is basically what we're doing. We're working with brands directly. They get our sensors like a zipper. We call them like a digital zipper. And then if the consumer sees our super icon, which is this little top there on the bottom, we call that a super reactor. So you see the super reactor, as a consumer, you know this works with the super app. It's super powered. That's basically it.
Fantastic. Anyone else want to have a feel? I'll bring them out. Anyone? Have a feel? Feel?
Can I ask a couple of questions here? Is it all based on the little dongle that's currently on the band or on the bra, or you have to wear this outfit?
No, you don't have to wear the outfit.
So it's the dongle?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, look, and congratulations. I think it's a really good idea because you're trying to solve a problem before the problem exists. So congratulations there. Awesome. As a forecast, think about that's something that's emerging. Awesome. By the way, surfing at Rockaway Beach, no way. I mean, that's a bloody wetsuit on hell for me, sister. From Australia, we want it to be 75 degrees. But here's what's incredible. The challenge that I would ask is that what are you going to do with it? So it's great to capture all that data, but big data makes little decisions. So we don't like big data anymore.
Yes.
We want little decisions in a format. So how do you make them give a shit is really the question I have. I get to capturing it, and it's awesome that you can party like an animal, but the real issue for me is what are you going to do with it?
Because we are actually creating dance parties, sonic experience, extreme sports, so we are actually not saying that we're capturing the data for the actual health. That's not what the consumer is supposed to actually even care about. They only care about creating the experience, experiencing the music, experience the movement, we're using their movement basically, that's it. And then we're using the data, we're actually giving them to the Mayo clinics of the world, because we're not experts, they are the experts.
Sabine, I wonder tell me more about your thinking process. Seeing the Supa brand, I'm thinking of all of the fashion brands in sport that would want to use something like this. Are you thinking about those brands too, or are you so focused on building your own brand?
No. Actually, we are B2B2C. So we have two different models. One is we basically sell the sensors like trims, like a zipper, to a Supreme. So think about Super Supreme. That's it. Or think about Super Gucci even, maybe. Let's see. But that's basically that model. And the other thing, what happened is everybody loves Supa, everybody loves the logo. So we were like, okay, you know what? We're gonna go directly to consumer. We test it out, which is great for us because we can test out the product before we actually upscale. So we can produce up to 10,000 units a month right now. And if there is a brand who needs more, we can actually easily upscale.
I love the idea. Congratulations. I guess my question is, how are you getting people to engage in these events? I mean, it's great that they're fun and it's all about...
Were you at the Spotify party yesterday?
I was.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I was next door, watching from the beach. Still fantastic.
Yeah, so we're working with DJs, we're working with brands like that, we're working with extreme sports brands, so we're really creating holistic experiences. My background, I come from multimedia, also electronica, like I come from experience design, physical computing. My first experience in wearables was a garment as a helmet as a game controller. I had an infrared LED on top of my head, and I was walking around to actually change 3 different screens, but that was in '96. I'm reverse aging.
How do you ensure security around the data?
Very good question.
You're collecting data that regards people's health. I mean, the big conversation today is the security and the privacy of that data, and that's a break that I'm missing in your pitch.
Absolutely. So,
Sorry, just to add to that, I would say also that level of disclosure in terms of collecting the data, you're not really fully informing them that it is for their health.
no, we're forming it. So first of all, it's transparency. That's what Daniel from Spotify said before as well. You definitely have to let the consumer know what's going on. One is the consumer needs to opt in directly if they want their data to be going somewhere as an individual. Otherwise, it's only aggregated data. We don't sell individual data. In terms of security, we're looking into blockchain right now as a model to even like secure it more further than the current, encryption modeling that we have. We're also looking into the actual heart rate. Everybody's heart rate is different, so we can use that as an encryption right there. So the data we are capturing, we can actually use to encrypt the data.
Okay, so final question. Firstly, take a breath. Awesome. Love your energy. Take a breath. Here's, I think, just something you need to look at as your Achilles heel, is you almost do too much. Just succeed at one thing and get it right in this aspect, and that, I think, then is a gettable moment that then you can scale to your heart's content. But that's just sort of an overarching comment from all I've heard here, is that you're making a very simple story very complicated. So just be careful with that.
Okay.
Well done. Thank you so much. We're going to let the judges take a little break and do some deliberating. You all have a role to play here as well. We've got some social voting going on. And I just want to give you, because I can see you've all got phones there, the right Twitter handle. So... It's at Dentsu Aegis is the Twitter handle, and they've got a Facebook page going as well, Dentsu Aegis Global. So get voting for your favourite startup while we let the judges go off and deliberate. Okay, can I ask the three of you to come back up here, please? You can also send in some questions, and we've got some really lovely questions coming in already, which we're going to, while the judges are off deliberating, we're going to spend some time asking you some penetrating questions from the crowd. Karen, how do you perceive as a startup the level of competition in the landscape, the digital media landscape right now? You know, what are you finding the challenges are in such a rich environment in terms of competition? How are you coping with that? It's a big question. Because the tech giants dominate the space, right? So how are you coping with that?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So, we're already commercialized. We just under 2 years, we've already run over like 700 programs, and are growing at an increase of 5x per year. But what's really interesting is, and I won't mention the name of the platform. One of the platforms, big platforms, reached out to us, had a meeting with us, and asked, "Hey, can we use your image recognition engine for?" Because one of our clients wanted to use it, and we currently don't have the resources to build it out. And that was very interesting because, like, one of the things is that, like, we are moving literally at the speed of light. We're small, we're nimble, we've got super smart, bright people working for us. And these organizations, they're not moving fast enough. Like, we're already working on the next thing, which is video, right? Being able to recognize what people are talking about and what they're feeling in videos, and they're still struggling with images.
Caroline, you were kind of asked this by one of the judges, but it's still an important question. It's a very competitive market, dominated by some of the big tech companies. How do you cope with that?
Yeah, well, similar. I think for us at the moment, what we're doing something quite bespoke, and kind of trying to learn a lot. And we are actually talking with the big platforms about offering our solution to that specific segment who is relevant to. So I think like they have different challenges from us, you know. So I think it's possible to work together.
And to stay niche, or you don't want to be niche.
Pardon?
To be niche, or do you want to not be niche?
Well, at the moment we're small, so we need to focus on something that we're really good at, on like one thing. But of course, the future plan is to expand out of that. But also the landscape changes so quickly, so it's impossible to say now who's going to be the biggest ones in a year's time. But yeah, trying to work with it.
Sabina, how about you? How do you deal with competition?
Well, I think in this space it's awesome because there are competitors out there, and the more there are, the more the consumer actually understands what's going on. So I think that there isn't enough competition actually to really understand what's going on when you put a garment on the body and create the actual data through that. And then there are definitely bigger brands that are doing that, but we're very, very focused on Gen Z millennials. That's it.
I think you're going to love, you three, this next question because it's about you guys. If there's a brand that wants to work with you, how do you want to be engaged with? Like, what's the best way to approach a startup, and what do you want from them?
Well, you know, Slack me, email me, whatever. Get in touch with us. No, I think what is very important for us is basically it needs to be completely brand aligned with also with our mission. So basically doing super for good, extreme sports, early Gen Z, millennials, very stylish, you know, and that's basically those are the brands that we're looking into, and that could be anything focusing on nutrition, to fashion, to sports, to just movement or health in general. So it's across the board.
Yeah, so for us, we have a mix of, we either work with brands directly or through an agency. But in general, it's just we have quite a personal approach in the beginning. So come to us with an idea of what you like to achieve from your video content, and then we create a bespoke solution for that specific use case.
Yeah, so we have an awesome team, right? Like I have our Chief Strategy Officer, Stacey McInnes, who has a wealth of experience. She was at McCann for years in New York and then Publicis. Her and the team work very closely with the media companies and the brands directly to propose on how best to use Kloop picks, posts, or places, and create programs where we identify your objectives, but our team knows how best to use Kloop and how it's worked in the past so that we drive results for you guys. So just get us in touch, like you mentioned, Slack, email, whatever. We're here.
Caroline, here's a question for you. Given video viewing on mobile is increasing all the time, how does your technology adapt to mobile advertising?
So our video player scales itself to any device. So from that angle, it's super easy for brands. We have to make a little bit of a different experience on mobile, obviously because of space issues. But that's it comes down to design.
One specifically for you. How will the sentiment analysis, location targeting technology be useful in education? We want some examples from you.
Yeah, absolutely. So like I mentioned, for example, identifying what the pain points are of, like, let's say, like the example I gave, if someone was struggling in math. So identifying, using the natural language understanding engine, where he or she is actually struggling, and being able to curate content and how best to basically deliver the answers to those problems through our text analysis engine and our image recognition engine is how we pursue that. And right now, currently we don't have a solution for that, but that's something we're definitely interested in and would like to actually add to our roadmap.
This is from Charlotte's John, who says, what do you all see as the biggest challenge actually trying to empower society through digital? What's the biggest challenge?
I mean, one of the judges pointed out data security. We need to have trust. So we need to have trust from the consumers that we are not screwing with their data, that we are not selling it off like an advertising, ad or so. It's really about the person. The person needs to be completely taken care of. We need to give them the person, the humans. We need to bring technology back to the humans. So that is the largest challenge in this space.
I think it's providing something that isn't kind of an overkill, too complicated. Providing a product which is something that anyone is able to use in a really easy way, and actually something that was brought up in the panel as well. The user behavior has to be there. So when we first started, it wasn't, clicking on stuff. The video wasn't something that we would naturally gravitate towards. But I think with everything happening with Snapchats and things, and now everything is becoming interactive, and that is kind of helping us a lot.
Yeah, I think we need to move away to a model of talking at people to truly understanding them and understanding their needs, which is something that we here at Kloop we strive for, using machine learning and deep learning and at scale. And I think that's really what it comes out.
Do you all think it's becoming essential for young people, not millennials younger, to have that sort of social imperative, to feel like they're contributing to something that is doing good or that is empowering society? Like, how important?
I think it's extremely important. I think that it's a generational thing. Gen Z, it's borderline millennials, but more like Gen Z, because they're, they see that their dads and their moms are like, they're doing that over and over again. So they're pretty smart, They're like, nope, we want to make sure that we actually can serve whenever we want to serve. It's clean water. It's, we take care of ourselves. We have a society that actually is equal, inclusive, open. So I think they're pretty smart.
I agree, Caroline, about Gen Z particularly. This is becoming one of the most important things for them, or it's up there.
I think so, and obviously with all the digital stuff around, that to create awareness around all these different causes, it becomes so easy. And I think also then, because I think a lot of people might think, I'll do this later, I'll donate or do something, but making it really easy and creating awareness, I think that's super important.
Yeah, I actually same exactly with Sabina, and then the stole the words out of my mouth.
Any questions from the crowd, from you guys, to any of the startups here? I'm curious, Caroline, if you think we're seeing the ends of kind of bricks and mortar retail, how close we are to that, or whether physical act of shopping is something we're still going to want to do.
I don't think it's going to die. I think it might change a little bit. Like what we also see a lot happening is like clever ways to use digital to make more out of the floor space in a retail space, and kind of trying to bridge the gap between the two, but I don't think it's ever going to disappear. People are always going to want to, go and see things, and I think it will the gap will close, but I don't think they're going to die.
How are we going on, Max, with our judges? We ready? Okay, thank you very much, guys. Take a seat, because the moment is almost upon us. David, I'm going to hand straight over to you, I think.
Thank you. Do we have a couple of minutes to deliberate? Can we talk about some stuff? Yeah. Max, how long do we have?
15 minutes.
15? Oh God, we can redo the whole thing all over again, shall we? 13 minutes and counting. Okay, so we wanted to use this time to, firstly, I think it's courageous to take on a project of this scale, particularly with the brands that are represented here, and we want to give you some advice, perhaps, and we have some further questions, and then ultimately, we'll tell you what we think if somebody has to be chosen. The thing that, and I'll start with this. There's a quote that I'm a huge fan of, and it's "Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication," and it's Da Vinci's quote. As somebody who presents a fair bit, which is what I do, my job. My advice to you first, and it's probably the only valuable piece of advice I can do for you guys, is please address the why and simplify the message. The thing that I hate being pitched all the time, and I use that word strongly, is I hear and all day, every day. And by the time we've gone around that circus, I don't understand it anymore. So please, you've got a very intriguing value proposition, and I want to understand why, I want to understand how, then I want to understand what, and I don't want an and. Because it's just too complicated. So that's something that I would say. And I would also advise you, did you know who we were before we were presenting? I don't know. Okay. Then I would, for some of you, you could pitch directly to some of these amazing brands. And I probably would have recommended to do that.
One thing that I felt was missing was more of the storytelling. I would have loved to have heard more stories about the women in Ethiopia that you helped and their names and what their experience was with your brand. So when pitching, I think it's always great to have the incredible brands that you're already working with, the stats, but also the stories, because that's what we'll remember when we leave here. And right now, I don't have one memorable story to leave with.
Yeah, and I think just to kind of echo what David was saying is, I feel like the product was first, and you guys are, your brand, your products better than anyone. But the brief was really focused on like how can we better society with tech and data solutions. And I just felt like that was kind of the secondary element to it. And I wanted more of like that to lead the pitch and not to try and uncover what the solution really was.
Yeah, I think these three remarks are a good summary of what we discussed. And I think overall we struggle to find the key purpose on how your solutions are going to help society, and it wasn't really pitched in that way. So it might be just a way to articulate it, but the brief was really clear, and it's so important to stick to that. Also, I think the pitch was a 5 minutes pitch, which we tend to call elevator pitch. With that time, in a very, very, very big building, if it's an elevator, to get you up. So actually, your pitch could be much shorter, much simpler in the language and in what you want us to remember, and why you're doing it. The purpose of the project linked to the brief. Why are you doing that, and why is it landing on it's going to help society?
I just want to add a couple more remarks, if that's okay. Here's the deal. What an amazing bloody experience for me to be able to participate. I believe we all would agree this. It's pretty amazing for Dentsu. You just to say, hey guys, we're going to have a bunch of people pitch the shit out of you, and we're going to give you 5 minutes and a blazing hot tent in a public format where I really can't come back and say, no, Shing, you're wrong, dude, and actually accept it. I think it's bravery at its best. So we take a nod to you to say, look, I think this, and by the way, this is a genius thing to do. I'm stealing this idea, dude. But what I think is key here is that you have a reason why you're building your businesses, and whether it's commercial first and good later. I can tell you that one of the reflections I'm seeing definitely this year at Cannes, and the many years I've been here, is that good does resolve at the end of the day, and humans just want to be good to other humans. And that equity is massive. So if it's not core to your business today, I challenge you to continue folding that in to the ethos and the principles of your business. Because every organization that we touch has a very large component in wanting to move the human condition forward. Whether that's with technology or without it, that's just what we are as a tribe of humans. So again, congratulations on what you're doing. If we were to choose a winner, it would be... Oh. Super. Well, I think that actually the reason why is that you said you want to solve a problem. You said you want to solve about 50 problems, by the way. So I'm trying to figure out which one you're trying to solve, but I'm there. You're actually coming at it with, I want to solve a problem which is actually something I can relate to. Again, my challenge was, I just don't know which one of the 18 problems you're going to try and solve, but it actually has a purpose to it, and it has the ability to reflect real empathy for what it is you're going to do, and that for us was really, you answered the brief, which is half the challenge and most certainly was the art. Do you guys have that?
So I was listening to our feedback and I was thinking, suddenly it feels like our duty is to criticize. So our duty is exactly the opposite. The reason why Tia and the team has organized that is to promote, is to encourage, is to respect, is to manifest gratitude. So really chapeau, as we say in French. Congratulations for what you do. And also you've put somehow helping society inside your thinking and your offer. Maybe it's not clear, materialized, wasn't exactly the way you pitched it, but you've thought about that, and we believe that's absolutely key as we go forward. So really big encouragement to what you've done, what you're going to do in the future.
I absolutely agree with Thomas. Everyone here is extremely impressive, and I feel like it was extremely valuable. At least for me, I love being part of an event like this, and it's such a great cause, and it's excellent that we are working towards bettering society as a whole, and that has been a theme throughout Cannes, and it's just excellent that everyone is taking that mindset as they approach the media and space. And Sugan, I am personally excited about what you're doing because I have had a son who had a VSC repair as a young child, and I think what you're doing, if you can help prevent medical conditions like that, is a tremendous value to society. So I applaud you and hope that your work continues.
Well, let me start by saying all of us are in the corporate world, and we applaud you for having the courage to go after your dreams. I think it's really easy from a corporate setting to tweak business plans, but to be in the driver's seat every day is something really admirable and something to celebrate. I think if I go back to storytelling, keep your stories simple, and I'm excited because most entrepreneurs will fail. The three of you are not in that category. I know great things to come, and keep going and keep following your passions and dreams.
Congratulations to you all. I had a fantastic experience. Feel free to mingle